FIFA has a ball so smart that it can feel a single strand of human hair brushing against it. It actually did that earlier in this tournament, ruling out a goal because the ball had flicked a player's hair. So explain this to me. How did that same piece of amazing technology look at a World Cup quarterfinal at a moment that half the planet swears they saw with their own eyes and decide that absolutely nothing happened? Norway are on a plane home. England are in the semifinals. And the reason why has everyone asking the same two questions. Does VAR actually work? Or does FIFA just point it wherever it feels like on the day? Let's get into it. First, give this match its due because it was a genuine classic. And it deserves better than to be remembered only for the arguments. This was played in absolutely brutal conditions. The kind of Miami afternoon where the temperature at kickoff felt like 113 degrees with the humidity. A physical test as much as a footballing one. And for long stretches, Norway were the better team. Andreas Schjelderup gave them the lead in the 36th minute with a beautiful strike that beat Jordan Pickford at his near post. And the Norwegian fans inside the stadium started singing, "England's going home." They believed. Erling Haaland and Martin Odegaard were running the show. Norway, in their first ever World Cup quarterfinal, were 45 minutes from the semifinals of a tournament nobody expected them to reach. And then, as he has done all summer, Jude Bellingham happened. In first half stoppage time, he collected a pass from Anthony Gordon, drove into the box, and finished brilliantly across the goalkeeper to make it 1-1. It was a wonderful goal. It was also the goal that this whole controversy is built around. And we will come back to it, because the argument is not about the finish. It is about what happened 30 yards away a few seconds earlier. The second half belonged to Norway. They controlled it, with Odegaard pulling the strings and Kristoffer Ajer rattling the crossbar. Bukayo Saka's cross was scrambled off the England line, but they couldn't find the goal that would have killed the game. And in the 3rd minute of added time, Bellingham did it again, pouncing on a shot from substitute Morgan Rogers that goalkeeper Ørjan Nyland could only spill into his path and slamming home the winner. That was his 6th goal of this World Cup, and his 7th overall in the competition, moving him past Jeff Hurst into England's record books at just 23. Norway threw everything at it. Haaland was even taken off halfway through extra time, and England, exhausted and holding on, saw it out. 2-1, semi-final booked. And a quick word on Bellingham because he has genuinely been a phenomenon at this tournament. 2 goals against Norway means he now has 2 separate multi-goal games in a single World Cup knockout stage. The first Englishman ever to do that. He has tied the England single tournament record of 6 goals, held by Gary Lineker and Harry Kane. He has been player of the match so many times that he'll need a second suitcase to carry the trophies home. This is turning into the World Cup of the Kane-Bellingham double act, and increasingly of Bellingham alone, a 23-year-old who keeps deciding huge games in the exact moments his team is drowning. None of what follows takes a single thing away from that. His finishing was elite. The debate is not about whether Bellingham is good. It's about what happened before the ball reached him. On pure football, England found a way, but 2 moments are the reason Norway feel cheated, and both of them are worth looking at closely. Start with the big one, the goal itself. When Nyland launched that clearance upfield just before Bellingham equalized, the ball did something strange. It seemed to check in the air and drop almost straight down, landing awkwardly at the feet of England's Elliot Anderson, who fed Gordon, who fed Bellingham, and Norway were sure about why. The ball, they insisted, had clipped one of the cables holding the robotic sky camera that hangs over the pitch. Nyland pointed at the sky the instant the goal went in. So did Haaland. So did coach Ståle Solbakken, who marched over to referee Clément Turpin at halftime to make his case. Their assistant coach put it bluntly, saying the referee should have spotted that, and here's why it matters under the actual rules. If the ball hits an outside object like a camera cable, that's outside interference and the referee is supposed to stop play and restart with a dropped ball. No goal. If it hit that wire, the equalizer should never have counted. FIFA's response was fast and firm. Their statement said the sensor inside the ball, the connected ball chip, showed no spike, no heartbeat peak when the ball was in the air, and therefore no proof that it had touched anything. And this is where it gets really frustrating, because that same technology is known for being obsessively, microscopically sensitive. This is the tournament where a Croatia goal was ruled out because the chip detected the ball grazing the hair of one of their own players. A hair. England's own coach, Thomas Tuchel, leaned on exactly that, pointing out that the chip can tell you if a hair touches it. So, we're being asked to believe that a sensor precise enough to register a strand of hair somehow felt nothing when a ball supposedly smacked into a steel camera cable. Either the ball genuinely didn't hit it, or, as some analysts suggested, the tracking antennas simply don't reach a camera wire hanging that high above the ground, meaning the technology has a blind spot right where this incident happened. FIFA insists 16 antennas under the stadium roof were active, and that the camera footage doesn't even shake. Solbaken's answer to all of it was simple and human. The ball fell straight down in front of the bench. His eyes told him one thing. FIFA's chip told him another, and FIFA expects everyone to trust the chip over the replay. Now, the second call, because on its own, the cable would just be bad luck. Stacked next to what happened 10 minutes into the second half, it becomes something more serious. Norway scored again, Torbjørn Hegem turning the ball home off a corner, and the stadium erupted. Then VAR pulled it back, ruling that Holland had fouled Anderson with a push in the build-up. And look, it was a push, a fairly clear two-handed shove. And under the stricter stance FIFA has taken on grappling at set pieces this tournament, you can absolutely justify disallowing it. That's not the problem. The problem is the contrast, and one club owner watching summed it up better than I can. Haralabos Vulgaris pointed out that a push, which happens on basically every single corner, got forensically reviewed and overturned, while a cable literally hits the ball and it's play on with no review. There it is. That's the whole scandal in one sentence. Because think about what VAR chose to do in this one game. It went digging into a corner frame by frame, hunting for upper body contact that happens 20 times a match, and found enough to wipe out a Norway goal. But when a ball visibly changed direction in midair moments before an England goal, VAR didn't so much as glance up at the camera angle to check. One end of the pitch got a microscope, the other end got a blindfold. And it's not just this match. As one journalist put it, this is now twice in the tournament England have had a big moment go their way like this. The issue isn't whether Holland pushed someone or whether a cable got clipped. The issue is that nobody watching can predict, from one decision to the next, when VAR is going to step in and when it's going to shrug. And a system you can't predict is a system you can't trust. So, let's take it seriously for a minute because I don't want to sell you a robbery that wasn't one. Honestly, both of these calls can be defended if you look at them alone. FIFA's chip really did register no contact, and that chip really is ridiculously sensitive. So there's a real chance the ball never touched the wire, and Norway's eyes deceived them in a chaotic moment. Even the athletics refereeing expert Graham Scott made the fair point that a VAR realistically wouldn't be scanning a camera angle up in the sky while reviewing an attacking move. And that officials are under real pressure not to be so forensic that they invent problems with a perfectly good goal. On the Holland push, the rules are the rules, and he did shove Anderson, and here's the part England fans will rightly shout. Bellingham's goals were brilliant regardless. The winner came from Norway's own keeper spilling a routine shot. Nothing to do with any cable. Bellingham has been the best player at this World Cup by a distance, and England, for all their struggles, kept finding a way. Even Holland himself, who had every reason to be bitter, refused to cry robbery, calling it simply a 50-50 call that went against them and generously adding that England are a good side. Solbakken said he could sit and cry about it but wouldn't. When the victims are this gracious, you should be careful about screaming louder than they are. And here's a detail that quietly undermines the idea that VAR simply favored England all night. It went against them too. Late on, England thought they'd won a penalty when Jed Spence tumbled under a challenge from Oscar Bob, and Turpin pointed to the spot, only for VAR to pull him over to the monitor and overturn it. That's a big call taken away from England in the closing stages of a knockout game. So, the picture isn't a referee bending everything one way. It's a referee and a VAR crew making a string of debatable calls that scattered in different directions, which is precisely the point. This isn't the story of a fix, it's the story of chaos. But here's the thing, and this is the part FIFA cannot escape. This isn't about one team getting favored. I'm not going to tell you FIFA wanted England through because there's no proof of that. And that's the lazy version of this story. The real problem is so much more basic and frankly more embarrassing. FIFA simply cannot run its own officiating consistently. They have sold us this technology as the thing that removes all doubt from the game. The ball that feels a hair, the cameras that measure offside to the millimeter, and then in the biggest moments, that same system detects a strand of hair in one match and can't tell you whether a ball hit a giant cable in another. It overturns a goal for a routine corner push, but won't review a mid-air deflection that changed everything. It is not that the machine is rigged. It is that the humans deciding when to switch the machine on, when to dig deep, and when to wave play on have no consistent standard anyone can follow. The technology didn't fail Norway. The judgment around it did. And that lands in the worst possible tournament for it, because FIFA's credibility was already in tatters long before Miami. This is the World Cup of the Balogun red card being wiped after a phone call, of Egypt filing a formal complaint accusing officials of injustice, of the Embolo dismissal that killed Switzerland's night, of VAR controversies in what feels like every other match. So when the Skycam saga lands on top of that pile, people don't reach for unlucky. They reach for here we go again. And you can see it in the reactions. Erling Haaland's own father, Alfie, posted a pointed little well done Bellingham and referee. That's the reputation FIFA has built for itself this summer, brick by brick. A governing body where the technology is world-class and the application of it is a coin flip, so that even a defensible decision now gets met with a roll of the eyes and an accusation. They earned that distrust. Nobody handed it to them. There's a version of this, by the way, where the reaction would have been nuclear. If that cable goal had helped a certain other team, half the internet would already be insisting FIFA hung the wire there themselves. But the boring, more honest truth here isn't a conspiracy. It's incompetence dressed up as precision. Norway didn't lose to a plot. They lost to a great Bellingham, a leaky bit of their own goalkeeping, and an officiating system so inconsistent that it can't even be relied upon to be wrong in the same direction twice. So, where does it leave everyone? England marched to Atlanta for a semi-final on Wednesday against Argentina, carrying Bellingham, Kane, and a genuine chance at their first World Cup since 1966, but also carrying real worries about tired legs and how badly they lost control of a game they should have managed better. Norway fly home from the best tournament in their footballing history, a maiden quarterfinal built largely on Haaland's goals on the wrong end of two calls that could have gone either way, and, in a fairer world, might have. There's a cruel footnote in there too. Haaland, the sensation of this whole World Cup, the man who had scored over half of Norway's goals on the way to this stage, finished the biggest game of their history, almost anonymous. He had the fewest touches of any player on the pitch, fewer than half as many as his own goalkeeper. Crowded out and starved of service before being taken off injured in extra time. For a tournament that announced Norway as a genuine force, it was a quiet, aching way for it to end. And FIFA faces yet another wave of the same question it has ducked all summer. What is the point of the most advanced officiating technology ever built if nobody can trust the people deciding when to actually use it? Do you buy FIFA's chip over your own eyes on that cable? Or is their VAR just completely broken at this point? Make your case down in the comments. And stay locked in, because England versus Argentina on Wednesday might be the tie of the entire tournament.